This father has the mind of a 6-year-old child. So when he saw a little girl lying on a frozen street, not moving, he did the only thing he knew. He tried to save her. But one stranger was watching from far away. She misunderstood everything. And in less than 1 minute, this innocent man lost his freedom, his daughter, and his entire life. What you're about to hear is one of the most heartbreaking father and daughter stories ever put on film. Miracle in Cell Number 7. Almost nobody makes it through this movie with dry eyes. And I'm warning you right now, stay till the very end, because the last 10 minutes of this story will live in your head for weeks. Let's get into it. The movie opens in a courtroom. A young lawyer named So-on is asking 3 judges to reopen a case closed many years ago. The opposing lawyer says everything was already proven, case closed. But So-on fires back, all of that sits on old evidence and outdated data. So the prosecutor asks her one question, were you even there when it happened? And So-on says, yes, I was there through all of it. Because the man she's fighting for, the man everyone called a monster, is her own father. And now, the story takes us back to the beginning. So-on is 6 years old. Her father, Yong, is not like other dads. His mind never grew up, and he can barely speak properly. But nobody on this planet loves his daughter more than Yong does. One day, the two of them are dancing to a song outside a store window when little So-on sees it, a Sailor Moon backpack on display. She falls in love with it instantly, and Yong promises her, tomorrow is payday, and tomorrow, that bag is hers. But right in front of them, another man walks in and buys that exact bag for his own daughter. Yong walks inside with So-on and politely asks the man not to buy it. He and his daughter come to look at this bag 2 times every day. And to win over the man's little girl, Yong gently touches her cheek, the way a child would. Big mistake. The man completely misunderstands it. And he's not just anyone, he's the police commissioner. He starts hitting Yong hard, right in front of little So-on. That night, Yong tells his daughter, don't worry, I will get you that bag. No matter what. Remember that promise. It's going to matter later. The next day, Yong is at his parking lot job, counting his salary, when the commissioner's daughter comes to find him. She shows him her Sailor Moon bag and says another shop sells the exact same one. Follow me. And Yong, happy as a kid on Christmas morning, follows her. Now pay attention, because this next moment is where his whole life falls apart. It's a freezing cold day. In the next scene, the little girl is lying on the ground, not moving, with a deep wound on her head and a brick lying beside her. Yong doesn't understand what happened, he just knows she needs help. So he does exactly what his CPR class at work taught him. He loosens her pants so she can breathe easier and blows air into her mouth, trying to bring her back. But from a distance, a woman sees this scene, and from where she stands, it looks like something horrible. Yong runs toward her shouting for help, and she screams and runs away in panic. Minutes later, the police arrive, and Yong, the man who was trying to save her, is arrested, accused of hurting that girl in the worst way imaginable and taking her life. He can't defend himself. He just keeps saying his daughter is waiting for him at home. But home is not an option anymore. Because the girl who lost her life was the daughter of the police commissioner, the same man who beat him at the store. The next day, little So-on sees a huge crowd on the street. She pushes closer and freezes. Her father is standing in the middle of it. The police brought him back to the scene to act out the crime, with a dummy of the girl on the ground. Yong can't explain with words, so he shows them with gestures. How the girl fell, how he patted her cheeks, how he loosened her pants and gave her air, exactly his CPR training. The police keep pushing. Did you take off your own pants too? He says no. He only tried to help her. Then the officers pull the dirtiest trick in this whole movie. Yong keeps begging to see his daughter, so they tell him, confess everything, and we'll let you meet her. He believes them. He loosens his pants one more time to demonstrate, and for that angry crowd, that's all the proof the police and the crowd need. And So-on watches everything from far away, unable to reach her father through the crowd. Soon after, the court gives its answer. Guilty. And Yong is sent to prison to wait for the ultimate punishment. When the prison warden reads what Yong supposedly did to a child, he's disgusted. So on day 1, when Yong picks up a telephone, because all he wants is to call his daughter, the warden loses his temper and beats him badly. Then Yong is placed in cell number 7, with 5 inmates already inside. They grab his file, read his charges, the worst crime a man can be accused of, against a child, and they throw a blanket over his head, pin him down, and beat him without mercy. And Yong still doesn't understand what he did wrong. Meanwhile, So-an is sent to an orphanage for kids whose parents are locked up. She has no one else now. Quick pause. If you're already feeling for this man, do me one small favor and hit that subscribe button. It's free, it takes 1 second, and it tells me you want more stories like this one. Okay, back to cell number 7. The leader of the cell is a gangster named Yang-ho, and Yang-ho has enemies. One day, another prisoner secretly sharpens a pen into a weapon and charges straight at him. But Yong sees it coming. Without thinking for even 1 second, the man everyone hates jumps in between and takes the hit himself. He's badly hurt, but Yang-ho is safe. And Yang-ho is shaken. The man they beat half to pieces just risked his life for him. Back in the cell, the inmates finally ask for his real story, and Yong tells them everything in his broken, childlike way. By the end, all 5 men realize the same thing. This man is completely innocent. So they ask him, "What can we do for you?" And Yong says the only thing he's said since day one. "I want to meet my daughter." That should be impossible. How do you smuggle a person into a prison? But when high officials visit for a special program, kids from the orphanage come to perform. And So-an is one of them. Yang-ho's crew hides her inside a large box and carries her straight into cell number 7. When the box opens and Yong hears his daughter's voice, he runs over, hugs her tight, and bursts into tears. So-an cries too, and hits him in frustration, asking why he left her, why he never came back. Then she asks the question that breaks everyone in the room. "Dad, are you a bad person?" One inmate quickly whispers, "Tell her this is a school." But Yong never lies to his daughter. He tells her the truth. This is a prison, and these 5 men are bad people who did wrong things. The 5 inmates just stare at him. Seriously, man? But that's Yong, honest to a fault. And nobody can stay mad at him. Soon they tell So-an she has to leave, or the other kids will go back without her. She refuses, and Yong doesn't want to let go either. But the men remind him, if she stays, she can't go to school. And Yong's one dream is for his daughter to study and grow into a good person. So with a heavy heart, he convinces her to go. One prisoner sneaks her out. But at the gate, the bus is already gone. So he brings her right back to cell number 7. That night, guards come to check, and all the men work together to hide her. Just like that, a 6-year-old girl secretly starts living inside a prison with her father. And honestly, these become the happiest days of the whole movie. They eat, laugh, and play together. One night before sleep, So-an tearfully says sorry to her dad. She knows all of this happened because of that bag, and she doesn't want it anymore. But Yong just smiles. "When I get out of here, I will buy you that Sailor Moon bag. I promise." Day by day, every man in that cell falls in love with this little girl. Then they hear officials are visiting again, a perfect chance to sneak So-an out with the crowd. They dodge the guards, reach the auditorium, and freeze. No officials. It's a Buddhist ceremony, full of monks. Back in the cell, Yang-ho gives the guy who brought the wrong info an absolute beating, because if guards find a child hidden in their cell, everyone gets extra years. And here's where the luck runs out. The warden is going through photos from the officials' visit and notices something. One photo has 3 children. The next has only 2. And in some of those pictures, the prisoners of cell number 7 are standing right there. He storms into the cell and finds So-an. When he realizes she's Yong's daughter, he explodes, beating Yong, screaming, "When you hurt that other little girl, did you not think about your own child?" Then he ties Yong's hands and throws him into solitary confinement. But that same night, everything changes. A prisoner completely loses control and sets the building on fire. The warden rushes in to stop him and collapses in the smoke. Everyone else is evacuated outside, and Yong sees the warden trapped in there. He doesn't think. He just runs into the fire. When the warden wakes up in the hospital, the doctors tell him the man who pulled him out got badly burned doing it, and kept repeating, "I didn't hurt any child." The warden looks over and sees Yong lying there. And for the first time, a question starts eating him alive. Could a man who risks his life for someone who beat him really do what they say he did? Real quick, drop a comment below. Would you run back into a burning building for the man who beat you? Because that's exactly what Yong just did. And if that hit you, the like button is right down there. Okay, it gets heavier from here. Meanwhile, So-an is falling apart, and her teacher notices. So So-an asks her a strange question: "Can you come to my home for counseling?" The teacher agrees, and So-an leads her straight to the prison gates. The poor woman is completely confused, but she takes her inside. Yong is called out, and father and daughter finally talk through the visiting glass, but the time ends way too fast. The speaker gets switched off, and they're both shouting through the glass, unable to hear each other, until the guards pull Yong away. So-an can only watch, tears rolling down her face, and the warden sees all of it. Days later, So-an ends up in the hospital. She hasn't eaten properly because she misses her father so much. The warden visits her, and this little girl looks up at him and asks, "Can you arrest me so I can stay with my dad?" He doesn't answer. He walks out quietly. But back at the prison, he calls 2 guards and says, "We're going to do something special." Next scene, a guard walks into cell number 7 carrying a big box. When it opens, So-an pops out. The warden arranged everything. From that day, he brings her to visit regularly and even gets her admitted into school. Cell number 7 becomes a family. So-an teaches Yang-ho, the big scary gangster, how to read and write. One day she brings a mobile phone, because one inmate has a daughter he has never seen or heard. She was born after he was locked up. Through that phone, he hears his baby girl's voice for the very first time, then hugs So-an and cries like a child. Yong even visits the warden's office to say thank you, and the warden asks him directly, "Why did you hurt that little girl?" Yong can't answer. A man with the mind of a 6-year-old doesn't know how to defend himself. So the warden starts digging. He borrows the original case files and something jumps out. Yong's confession is detailed and perfectly written. Way too perfect for a man who can't write anything except his daughter's name. The warden goes to the police commissioner and begs him to reopen the case. Refused, on the spot. The man lost his daughter, and in his grief and rage, only one thing matters: Yong must never walk free. So the men of cell number 7 run their own investigation. They roleplay the entire incident, and finally the real picture comes out. It was freezing that day, with black ice covering the road. Yong slipped and fell first, then heard the girl fall behind him. As she went down, she grabbed a rope to steady herself. But a brick was tied to that rope, and it came down straight onto her head. That's the mark they found. It was never a crime. It was a terrible, tragic accident. And the pants? Pure CPR training. Nothing more. Now they prepare for the final trial. They write out every question the court could ask, with honest answers, and Yong memorizes them everywhere, while running, hanging laundry, even in the restroom. They rehearse the whole trial in the yard, and Yang-ho writes a petition that every single inmate in the prison signs. Listen, this next part is the reason this movie broke records and broke hearts. If you've made it this far, you're clearly invested, so make sure you're subscribed right now. You do not want to miss how this ends. Trial day. The warden rides with Yong, unlocks his handcuffs, and tells him, "Just answer honestly, exactly like you practiced." But before the hearing, Yong's own lawyer shows up. And instead of preparing his defense, he warns him, "The commissioner is too powerful. He will never let you go." Then the commissioner himself comes to Yong, alone. He beats him, and he makes one threat: "If you don't confess to everything, I will do to your daughter exactly what happened to mine." Yong is terrified. And in that courtroom, when the questions come, he looks at the commissioner, then at his daughter, and says it. "I did it." The whole courtroom is in shock. The warden jumps up, shouting that Yong is mentally unstable and needs more time. But the judge announces the verdict anyway. The ultimate sentence. Yong's life will be taken by the law. Nobody understands why he changed his statement. Nobody accepts him. He gave up his own life to protect his daughters. Days later, So-an visits him. "I know you're not a bad person," she says. She shows him her test paper with excellent marks and tells him she's learning piano, because the warden has taken her into his own home now, caring for her like family. But the men of cell number 7 learn something horrible. The date has been moved up early, for a powerful man like the commissioner, arranging that is easy. And the new date is December 23rd, So-an's birthday. So the prison comes together for the most heartwarming escape plan ever put on film. This prison manufactures footballs, and using everything they have, the inmates secretly build a giant hot air balloon. December 23rd arrives. There's a program at the prison, and So-on is there for her birthday. In the middle of the chaos, they get Yong and his daughter into the balloon and release the ropes. The guards try to stop it, but you can clearly see they're not really trying. Even they want this father and daughter to fly away. The balloon rises, and then the rope catches on the sharp wire at the top of the prison wall. It's stuck. The plan fails. But here's the thing, Yong never even knew it was an escape. He just stands in that balloon with his daughter, watching the sunset, and tells her, "Never forget this day, and never forget me." Back in the cell, everyone celebrates So-on's birthday. Then Yong hands his daughter a box, and inside is the Sailor Moon backpack. The bag that started all of this. The promise, finally kept. He hugs her and says, "Thank you for being born as my daughter." And every man in that cell is quietly crying, because they all know what today really is. He doesn't. His friends write their names and messages on his uniform. Then Yong walks So-on to the gate and tells her, "I can't go past here. From here, you go alone." She says, "Merry Christmas, Dad." He hugs her, tears in his eyes, "Merry Christmas." A guard calls him. As he walks away, Yong does their silly little dance, the one they always did together, and So-on copies it perfectly, making him smile through everything. But the guard isn't taking him back to his cell. He's taking him the other way, and in that moment, Yong understands. He breaks free and runs back to his daughter. He holds her as tight as he can. He apologizes to everyone. He begs, "Please save me. I want to live. I want to stay with her." Every guard and every prisoner is crying, because every single one of them knows he's innocent, and not one of them can do anything. He is taken away, and So-on stands at the gate, watching her father disappear. The story returns to the courtroom, where grown-up So-on finishes telling everything to the three judges. Her father is no longer in this world, but she's here to clear his name forever. And sitting in that courtroom are familiar faces, the men of cell number 7, all released now and living good lives, ready to testify. Through their words, the truth finally lands. The case was never properly investigated. Yong was never mentally stable. The medical reports never proved the girl was harmed the way they claimed, and it was never truly proven that Yong was responsible at all. The judges give their verdict. Yong was innocent. He did nothing wrong. The old cellmates celebrate, and the warden breaks down in tears of joy, because it was the warden who adopted So-on and raised her into a lawyer. She became a lawyer for one reason only, so that one day she could win justice for her father. Justice came late, but it came. In the final scene, So-on walks to that same prison wall, the spot where the balloon got stuck on her birthday, and she sees it all again, herself as a little girl, her father right beside her, waving. But this time, in her imagination, the balloon doesn't stop at the wall. It floats up, past the wire, into the open sky, flying toward freedom. And from below, So-on says goodbye to her father one last time. That's the story of Miracle in cell number 7, a father whose love was bigger than his whole world, and a daughter who spent her life keeping one promise back. If this recap moved you even a little, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. It seriously helps this channel keep telling stories like this. And tell me in the comments, if you were the warden, what would you have done? I'll see you in the next one.